Sally, well, you relax. It's just your aunt.
John, my Aunt Fran isn't just an aunt. She's a legend. She was always sort of unreal to me. You know, she once sent me a Mongolian monkey.
You're kidding.
And once an actual hunk of the Sphinx.
I didn't think they allowed that.
They do if your date is King Farouk.
I see what you mean.
She was always off to fabulous places with wonderful people.
Many of whom she married, right?
Well, as I recall, saying no wasn't one of Aunt Fran's strong points. Why she's coming here after all these years.
She probably wants to see what happened to the monkey and the piece of Sphinx.
Oh, I hope not. The monkey ate the rock and died. I just can't believe she's coming.
Honey, when someone sends a telegram from Australia, you better believe it. The part I don't want to believe is this, the ending part. Kangaroo to follow.
That sounds just like her. I haven't seen her since I was about 11. I'm sure she's mellowed by now.
Did you say mellowed?
Not me. Where'd you get that idea?
Thank you. It is something that you have helped a foreigner to your country, then I am never forgetting of your kindness.
Not at all, ma'am. Glad to have helped. You sure this is the right place?
Oh, mais oui, of course. And there are whom to see I am coming. Thank you. Oh, Sally. Oh, Sally,
Fred,
darling.
it's so good to see you. What's with the French accent?
Oh, well, that silly man wanted to give both of my cabs a ticket, merely because I told the driver how anxious I was to see you.
So instead you talked him into giving you a police escort, huh?
It seemed an acceptable compromise.
Aunt Fran, you haven't changed a bit.
Oh, but you, Sally. I absolutely refuse to believe that that darling little girl I saw last has grown up into this darling little woman.
Well, I did the best I could.
Oh, and this must be John, because nobody else here is John.
Yes, that makes me John. Hi, Aunt Fran.
Oh, how nice. And I'm sure you'll take care of these gentlemen who aren't fortunate enough to be John. Oh, that's Winston. The rest of the animals are still in quarantine. You'd think they'd tell you in the Galapagos that you cannot bring turtles into America.
Wouldn't you, though?
I know you'll be generous, John. Now then, you can start by telling me everything that's happened to you since the age of 11. Oh, that was absolutely delicious, Sally. And to think you did it all yourself. I didn't bring any servants this time. I prefer to travel more simply now.
Just the bare essentials.
Oh, stop complaining, Winston. Mommy will feed you soon. I don't suppose you have any iguana meat in the house?
Oh, I'm sorry. We ran out this morning.
Well, perhaps I'm traveling a little too simply.
And speaking of simple, may I introduce my brother Jerry?
Who takes a lot of abuse. Because he earns a lot of abuse. Come on, Jerry, I'd like you to meet my Aunt Fran.
Hello, Jerry.
Hi. This place looks like backstage at Let's Make a Deal.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't have to come here to be humiliated. I could have been humiliated a lot of other places.
Oh, please stay. You know, a really good victim is very rare.
Oh, well.
Well, while you're victimizing him, John and I'll just put away some of your simple things.
Oh, thank you, dear. Sally tells me you're a musician and you work in Las Vegas a great deal.
Yeah, I do. I'm going up tomorrow.
Do you by any chance know a Mr. W.W. Forrest?
Wild William Forrest?
Possibly. What does he do?
Well, he's kind of a doctor's helper. If you owe the casino any money, he fixes it so you need medical help.
I see. I wonder if I might ask you a favor.
Yes.
Well, it's probably more flowers.
Is there ever a day when you don't get flowers?
Oh, of course, dear. One has jewelry days.
Is there a Mrs. Fran Harrison here?
Yes. Aunt Fran, it's for you.
Later. Yes?
Mrs. Harrison,
How do you do?
Summons.
Thank you. John, you needn't tip.
Is there some problem?
Oh, no, dear. I'll just put it with the others. John, tell me all about yourself. I have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, you can start after age 11.
Thanks, Sal. Aunt Fran, I'm a lawyer, a brother, and a husband, and a good listener if you ever need one.
I'll get it. Yes?
Is there a Mrs. Harrison?
Oh, yes. Won't you come in? Aunt Fran, it's for you.
A wild guess. You represent Mr. Akimitsu.
I have that honor. Please excuse my calling on Sunday.
I better not comment on that.
But we are most anxious to resolve our differences regarding the pearl bed.
Oh, no more than I. Please inform Mr. Akimitsu that I shall ring him the minute I'm unpacked.
This evening.
Tuesday at the latest. Arigato. Sayonara. Now, where were we?
Well, we were talking about John, the brother, husband, lawyer, and good listener.
And all of me get the feeling it's the lawyer you need.
You know, he's not only generous and charming and heaven to look at, but he's fantastically astute.
It seems that she has an inherited interest in a pearl bed in the Orient.
A what?
Well, it's a pearl bed. But the title's unclear, and I was hoping that maybe you wouldn't mind if I looked into it. Just as kind of a family favor.
A family favor on company time, huh?
Well, I may need the advice and counsel of someone a little wiser and more experienced.
John, you're blossoming into a regular diplomat. All right, it's a deal, but don't get too tied up on it, will you?
Thank you, sir.
Come in.
Hi. I just came by to say hello.
Hello, Sally. It's always good to see a pretty young face.
Well, thank you, Mr. Klein. It's always good to see a handsome, mature face.
I've already told John he can handle your aunt's business.
Oh, good. Well, then one good turn deserves another. How about dinner at my house and you can meet my aunt?
Sally?
Yes.
I learned early on after my divorce that blind dates are a lot like betting on the horses. The odds are stacked against you.
I could fix you your favorite food.
I'm sure that you love your aunt, but do you know how hard it is to make beef Wellington?
Beef Wellington, I make it all the time. It's my specialty.
It's a good thing that perjury off the witness stand is not punishable. No, thank you.
You're missing a good thing.
Your beef Wellington?
My aunt. Fran Harrison, I'd like you to meet Stuart Klein.
How do you do, Mr. Klein?
How do you do? I've heard so much about you from John.
Isn't that a violation of confidence?
Only good violations, I assure you.
Well, I love good violations.
Well, just when is this beef Wellington dinner to take place?
How about tomorrow night?
Only because I'm a patient man. I'll look forward to seeing you. Both. Oh, all three. John, I think possibly I might take this case over myself. I have a certain skill.
Hello. May I help you?
You're Anne. I'm Fran.
Oh!
Well, if nothing else, it makes a nice little rhyme.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You just missed Sally.
Oh, really? I thought she'd be home struggling with beef Wellington. Oh, what a lovely, lovely shop.
Oh, thank you.
I was just in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm so glad you stopped in. I've been dying to meet you.
Oh, and I you.
Thank you.
You sell a little bit of everything, don't you?
Oh, carry a little bit of everything. Selling is another story.
Jewelry?
Yeah? Now and then. Why, were you interested in something?
Well, I just had a few pieces that I'm bored to tears with, and I thought you might be interested. I'd rather you didn't mention it to Sally. You know, she's so sentimental about family things.
Are those real rubies?
Are there any other kind?
Oh, I don't know. Spending a summer with a Maharaja sounds fascinating.
Well, in some ways it was. But I never could get used to going on a tiger shoot at 7 a.m. Not that I could possibly kill an animal, of course.
I guess in those days they weren't really concerned with the balance of nature yet.
Yes, furs had sleeves and were called coats, not an endangered species.
More brandy, Mr. Klein?
No, thanks, John. And I think you might start calling me Stuart.
Thank you.
Well, I really must be going.
Oh.
That is the third time I have said that. But I want to show a little willpower so that I will still have a little self-respect. Sally, you evidently do know how to make beef Wellington. It was superb, especially the crust.
Well, it was my girlfriend's recipe, Aunt Fran's crust.
Don't tell me you can cook, too.
Oh, well, no, really, but one of my husbands could. His hobby was gluttony.
Foolish man, considering all the sins he had at his disposal. John, I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, Stuart. Sir.
Goodbye.
Aunt Fran, he seemed to really, really like you.
Well, I really, really like him, too.
Good.
Thank you, dears, for such a lovely evening.
Well, it was our pleasure.
You know, I have a sort of a feeling about Stuart.
Oh?
Yes, I think I might be going to marry him. Good night, children.
She's still asleep. I get the feeling Aunt Fran isn't used to seeing too much in the morning.
Honey, Aunt Fran sees only what she wants to see, of anything.
Well, I guess she does tend to be a bit of an optimist.
She better be. She thinks Mr. Klein's going to marry her.
He did seem interested.
He's too wise and too rich.
Are you suggesting that my aunt's a gold digger?
No. It's just that she's never found wealth to be a handicap. Am I wrong, or does that bell never stop?
You're not wrong.
It's Mr. Klein.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Klein.
Good morning.
I had such a lovely time last night that I wanted to thank you in person.
Well, that's very nice. We enjoyed having you.
And I brought these.
Well, listen, she's not up yet, but I'll tell her.
Sally, they're for you.
Oh, thank you.
You don't think I'm such a romantic that I would bring before breakfast flowers to a blind date, do you?
I guess not.
However, if you would like to give the lady in question this with my compliments, I wouldn't object. What is it, John?
Nothing, sir. Excuse me.
Feeling left out? All right. See you at the office.
Hi, Angela. I got to see John, and I was wondering how I could forget what a beautiful girl you are.
For my sake, try.
You're still fighting it.
Still winning.
Angela, I don't understand why you want to deny yourself the ultimate happiness.
I don't know. I guess I'm a masochist, Jerry. You're too good for me.
Half a chance I could be real bad.
Well, much as I'm enjoying this conversation, Jerry, I really had planned to set aside this time to do my nails. Is there something else?
Is there anything else?
Why you came.
Oh, I got to see John, and it's real important. Is he in his office?
Mm-hmm. Shall I ring?
Yeah, you can call me anytime, sweetheart. I am in the book.
Well, there's never a dull moment. Mr. Klein took her out again. Marshall came with some sort of summons. We got a notice the kangaroo was held up en route, thank God, and London called 3 times.
London? What did London want?
Oh, she forgot to pay her hotel bill for the royal suite.
My dear.
Can you imagine? I mean, you have to be really rich to forget to pay your hotel bill.
Yeah, I guess.
What's this?
Oh, jewelry.
I mean, did you buy it?
No, I took it on consignment.
I thought you didn't like to take things on consignment.
I just made an exception.
Annie, I get the feeling we're never going to sell this. It's too expensive.
Say, is it really serious between your aunt and Mr. Klein?
Well, I think she's serious.
Well, I mean, is she crazy in love?
Oh, well, I think she's serious.
Look, I don't know how to say this, but I really have some awfully funny vibrations.
About my aunt?
Let me put it this way. If, say, a perfect stranger did something and they said, don't tell your best friend, would you keep it a secret?
Am I your best friend?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the secret.
Isn't she breathtaking?
Save your breath, Stuart. We have a long evening ahead.
Have a good time.
Drive carefully. Listen to me. I sound like a mother.
You are kind of responsible for him, though, huh?
Well, when you introduce two people and one of them's your aunt,
Yeah, one of them's your boss.
you sort of feel responsible.
Yeah, I sort of feel like we're vouching for him. Sal,
John, go ahead.
You
Annie told me that Aunt Fran's trying to sell her jewelry.
Well, yeah, Jerry just got back from Las Vegas, and...
She owes that much?
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I hope we're both wrong.
Well, could she? Just want to marry him for his money?
Maybe she loves him.
Klein?
I don't know. I think he's kind of cute.
That cute?
Not that cute.
Don't be upset, dear. Yes, it's all horribly true, but I wouldn't characterize myself as poor. You see, people like me are sometimes financially embarrassed, even broke, but never poor.
John and I have been discussing it, and we have a little savings. It's not much, but if it would help...
Oh, you darling children. How sweet. No, I'm really not worried. It isn't the first time, you know. Being broke is kind of like catching a cold. It goes away. How? Some way or other.
By marrying a wealthy man?
Oh, I see.
Look, I don't mean to be disrespectful or to butt in. No, I mean to butt in.
Sally.
Yes.
I never married a man I didn't like.
Like? Aunt Fran, this is John's boss.
And I think if you were to talk to any of my ex-husbands, you'd find they were eminently content.
While it lasted.
Darling, cities don't last. Nations don't last. How can a marriage possibly last?
All I'm asking, Mr. Klein...
Is whether my intentions are honorable. Very decent of you.
Well, it's not only that, sir. I was thinking of you.
Well, I understand your implications. I think very highly of your aunt, and my intentions toward her are appropriate.
I'm sure they are, sir, but do you understand that she's used to money?
Well, if you're really that concerned, why don't you take over her legal affairs yourself? Well, settle this business of the pearl bed, and then she'll have plenty of money of her own.
All right, sir. How far have you gotten?
Her late husband's first will left her a minimum interest. A later will, I understand, leaves her considerable more.
Uh-huh. Where is that will?
Somewhere in Hokkaido. She doesn't know exactly where.
That's all you have. After all the time you spent with her...
Let's just say that I was distracted. Now, Mr. Akamutsu knows exactly where the will is, I'm sure.
All right, sir, I'll get right on it. That is, if you don't mind me using company time.
What's company time when it's in the family?
Mr. Akamitsu, I've invited you here today in the hope that an informal atmosphere would help provide a solution to Mrs. Harrison's interest in the pearl bed.
It is possible, merely to conclude this matter, a token settlement might be offered.
You like some tea? I'll get it for you.
May I ask what the nature of that token settlement might be?
If you will excuse me, please.
We're in luck, maybe. You heard about the tea?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't ask for it. He thought about it.
You can read Mr. Akamitsu. What's he thinking?
Well, that's where the maybe comes in. Right now, he's thinking, Kitai kurai toru tsamori nandaro.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't understand Japanese.
What good is it?
Well, when he speaks to you, he thinks in English.
Oh. Okay. Forget about the tea. Just stick around. Mr. Akamatsu?
Mr. Burton, my associates and I would like to offer a cash settlement.
And I would like to discuss the terms of the new will.
A new will? A new will has not been discovered. ちょっと待ってください。
When you mentioned the new will, he got all excited.
Good.
When he gets excited, he thinks in Japanese.
Bad. Mr. Akamatsu, excuse me. Excuse me. We all know there's another will. The only question is producing it.
I suppose it is possible. Do you know where such a will might be?
Well, I have reason to believe that concentration will produce that answer.
Concentration?
Merely thinking about its location.
And then once the new will is located, everything will be settled.
If the new will is located, no one knows where it is.
How about the First National Bank in Hokkaido, Vault Box 1407?
I think I have an offer you will find more meaningful.
I'm sure you have an offer I will find more meaningful.
Sally.
Goodbye.
John.
Oh, I'm still in time.
Stuart, can you ever forgive me dashing off this way? Duty calls, and I'm devastated.
It's the fate of all great loves.
You will recover.
I'll try.
But not too soon.
No, not too soon.
I'm good. Oh, for me. By the way, tell Jerry to tell his doctor friend in Las Vegas there'll be a check within the week.
Aunt Fran, a little something from the store.
Sally, you darling. By the way, if I've forgotten anything, and that's almost a certainty, forward it to the Kuril Islands, care of Mr. Imuro Takasu Toshifuro. I believe he's listed under ITT.
Okay, Aunt Fran, we'll do that.
He's a delightful gentleman, although he does have a bit of a fixation about people walking barefoot up and down his spine. Gets to be a bit of a bore. Well, goodbye, children. You have a lovely little marriage there. I'd keep it if I were you, Stuart.
Mr. Klein, I'm sorry.
You did just fine at the legal end.
Must be kind of disappointing.
Sally, I'm an old dog, and I do know all the old tricks. Believe me, I don't have a thing to complain about. I'll just see our friend off on the plane and try and look suitably stricken.
She'll appreciate that. Well, I think we underestimated Mr. Klein.
The instinct for survival among lawyers is very strong.
Well, I don't know. I pinned you, didn't I?
Well, you had an advantage.
What's that? I could read your mind?
No, being irresistible.
Oh.
You know, house guests seem to get in the way.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
No, Mr. Klein can't get back to the office before 12:30.
Want to have lunch at home?
That too.